So, welcome to our Sunday evening meditation time. If this is something that's new for you or you haven't been here in a while, I would just encourage you wherever you are, just get comfortable. You are welcome to lie down. You're welcome to stay seated. We do want to be comfortable in meditation. We don't want to be so relaxed that we fall asleep, but because we're trying to find this awareness in our mind. So you just settle in. Hopefully you're in a spot in your home where you are away from distractions. So just settle into that spot. And then we are going to get started. So, welcome to these moments that we have together. It is an honor to get to spend these few minutes with you. And I hope that you feel that it is an honor to spend these minutes with yourself. Whether you are new to this or you have been with us for a while, we've been on a journey the last several days since last Monday, focusing each time together on a different layer of peace in our lives. And we did that as a way of honoring what a gift Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has been to our world with his birthday last week. So today is our last day with the subject of peace as our theme. But even if you haven't heard the others, it is all going to come together right here and now. So I would invite you to gently close your eyes. And then I want you just to settle in to a rhythm of breath that feels right for you. We want to try to get a deep, deep, slow inhale, followed by a full release of the exhale. But yours might go a little faster than mine. It might be a little slower. You just find a rhythm that feels good. Maybe you pause between the inhale and the exhale right before you breathe out. And again, whatever feels right for you. What we want the breath to be is an anchor for these minutes that we're going to spend together. And as we can focus on the breath, there's a far greater chance that the mind won't wander nearly as much, so that we can stay present and alert and feel the gift of the present moment. So as you're settling in with a slow, deep inhale and a full release of the exhale, let's just think about this idea of peace. And each night over the last several days, we've gone through different layers of peace in our lives. We've looked at peace within ourselves. We've looked at peace in our workplace, peace in our personal relationships with the people closest to us. But in these moments right now, we're going to look at peace in the world. And I know that when I say that, many of you start to think, oh, that is such a great idea, but it feels so impossible. But I want to share with you some words that will help us to see that peace in our world is not only possible, it's part of our purpose of beginning to create pathways for it in our little part of the world. And if I'm doing it in my little part of the world and you're doing it in yours, just imagine the impact that we could have. And so just continue to breathe, continue just to sit or lie there with your eyes gently closed and think about this question. How do we take the peace within us and begin to use it as a force in our world? Not the greater, big, gigantic 8 billion people world, but our corner. How do we take the peace within us and begin to use it as a force in our world? And as you just kind of sit and just think about that question for just a minute, I want to tell you that what happens in our lives impacts the world. And likewise, what happens in the world impacts us. But so often what we do is we just allow it to affect us rather than bringing it in, doing something with it, and sending it back out in a different way. And when you can start to think about it from that perspective, you're starting to catch a glimpse of this idea or this pathway of karma yoga. It's not the yoga we do on a yoga mat. It has nothing to do with postures and balances. It is the yoga of energy. And as I bring things into myself, good energy or not, I have the power within me to begin to shift it in a way that no matter what it was that came in, I send it back out with compassion and kindness and peace and calm. Until eventually, the more I'm doing that, what comes into me looks like kindness and compassion and peace and calm. It's not a quick process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's one energy exchange at a time. And so as you sit where you are, or you lie where you are comfortably, I want you just to think just one more time before we head into these next few minutes. How do I take the peace within me and use it as a force for good in my world? And I know some of you are thinking you've got limitations. You're not good enough yet. You don't know enough yet. And I want to tell you that how you are in this moment is exactly what you need to be a force of peace and good. And I want to help you see that and believe that with just a quick story. So just keep settling in, just keep breathing and listen to my words so you can stay right here in this moment. But there's a story of these two islands that are right next to each other, and it's a fable. But on these islands, the people all have the same limitation. They have arms that do not bend. Their elbows, the joint doesn't move. Their arms are just straight. And so on one of those islands, the people that have these straight, unbending arms are emaciated. It looks like they haven't eaten forever because even though they're surrounded by what they need, they can't bring what they need to eat up to their mouths. And so their lives are bleak and dark and without a lot of hope. But then we go over to the island right next to them, and the people have the exact same limitation. Their arms don't bend. But these people are plump and smiling and joyful and content. And so what's the difference? They begin to accept who they are and realize that it's good enough to be a force in their world. And what they learn is that with arms that don't bend, I can pick food up and serve it to you. And with those same arms that don't bend, you can pick food up and serve it to me. And we all are fed. And I know on the surface that story sounds silly because it seems impossible, but the concept is karma yoga. We don't have to get good enough or know enough to be able to be a force for good and peace in this world. We just have to be willing to serve. So we're going to spend these next couple of minutes together, sitting in quiet. That's typically what we do. I'll guide you through something, and then we just sit and let those words and the message just kind of marinate within us and see what personal connection you can make to it. We could all make a list of the limitations that we have and that we do want to do good things, but we're just not quite ready yet. But I would encourage you in these next couple of minutes of quiet to let those mindsets go and realize, I am good enough right now. I have all I need right now. So let's take a slow, deep breath in together and gently let it go. And one more slow, deep breath in together and gently let it go. And now you sit in your space, I will sit in mine. And let's let these words and these messages just sit with us as well for just the next couple of moments. And with that sound, let's bring our attention back to the space that we're sharing together, but just continue to be with your eyes closed if that feels okay for you. When we sit in meditation and we grow quiet and still, there are patterns of thoughts that arise in our mind, and we learn things from those patterns. If your patterns in these few minutes of quiet kept trying to convince you of what you can't do and what you don't know yet, I would invite you that in the days to come, to make your focus releasing those negative thought patterns. And if your thought patterns were taking you to a place that says, yes, I can. My world and my influence is tiny. But if everybody starts where somewhere it's just a little tiny, it begins to grow. And if that was your thought or the patterns of your mind, I encourage you to keep nurturing those thoughts in the coming days. If we want peace in our world, we've got to start by accepting who we are and feeling the peace within ourselves. And then the energy that we put out is an expression of that peace every time we speak, every time we act, every time we interact with our world and our environment. As we close our time together, if you feel comfortable, I would invite you to bring your left hand, cover your heart with it right in the center of your chest, and then cover the left hand with the right hand. And I know that you can't physically feel the peace, but you know that right underneath those hands is a beating heart, a miracle in and of itself. And that within that heart is love and compassion. Keep your focus on those things that are within you and realize that is your gift to share. Don't think about your limitations. Don't think about your lack of knowledge or lack of tools. Think about the loving, kindness, compassionate energy that is already sitting within you. And let that fuel the peace that you share with your world. Namaste.